Former CIA officer and FBI agent. It's great to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Natasha.
And we heard Brian talk about the increase in 911 calls in Moscow since the murders. People obviously scared there. Is this sort of hypervigilance a good thing?
I always think that hypervigilance is a good thing. I practice hypervigilance myself just because of my prior career path. I think, it's always good to err on the side of caution. If you see something, say something. I think a lot of times in many communities, rural or urban, we're kind of lulled into this sense of security because we get into our routines. And that's just that. We get into routines and people start to know those routines. And so I always think it's better to err on the side of vigilance.
How concerned do you think this campus and city should be? Is there a real chance that the killer would strike again?
That's a tough question. I really can only answer through my own hypothesis. To me, this seems like a very, very targeted killing. Just looking at the footprints of the house, looking at how personal this was, looking at how forceful this was, and looking at how violent this was. To me, someone had a score to settle in looking at this. And so I don't believe that the killer is going to strike again, but you're sort of left with two ends of the spectrum. Either this was a very highly targeted killing, which is what I believe it was, or this is some type of a scenario where you have someone who is in sort of a serial killer kind of mode. This isn't a home invasion kind of situation gone wrong.
Yeah, and police say that they have received more than 488 digital media submissions to that FBI link so far. What types of things beyond the obvious may they be looking for as they sift through?
What I found was really interesting, and just looking at the history of the community, and then also some of the work I did when I was at the CIA was looking at photographs and imagery. What I found was interesting was actually the lack of Ring doorbell cameras, which is a very simple security system on a lot of the surrounding apartment complexes and condos. I kind of took a jaunt down Google Satellite looking at those. And so I initially thought that perhaps a lot of this might be CCTV or Ring cameras or those kinds of things. But what I think that they're looking at now is text messages, screenshots, photos, social media, pictures and thoughts, and TikTok videos.
And based on how little information police have shared at this point, do you think they are close to solving this?
I do want to say, and this may not be a popular opinion, that I do think law enforcement here is doing the best job that they can. I know that there's been a lot of sort of frustration with them, and I can understand that, especially for the victims' families. I think that right now law enforcement is playing their cards very close to their chest, which is probably the right thing to do, as they don't want to jeopardize any future prosecution of the case.
Appreciate it. Tracy, Walder, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Natasha.
And thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.